Guys, auctions are where you get deals. Getting deals makes you money, making money hits you towards financial freedom. So, if you're not currently buying property at discounted pre, during and post at auctions, you are definitely missing out. I'm here with Charlie Dole from Strakers, and we're doing a whole series about buying at auction. You need to see every single one of these videos. Watch them on Instagram, watch them on YouTube, or watch them on our website. This question is, what do I need to do on auction night?
So, yeah, don't panic I suppose is one of the biggest
Really?
things. Don't panic.
You will though, the first time.
Ideally, you've done all your preparation building up to it. You've looked at the property, you've looked at the legal pack, you've got your finances in place.
Okay.
So advice for the night itself.
Yeah.
Okay. In our instance, auctions are at 7 o'clock in the evening, doors open at 6.
Okay.
The recommendation is don't turn up at 5 to 7. So make sure, one, you know where the auction is. It's amazing how many times we've had people, because we use 3 different auction venues across the year.
Yes.
We've had people go to the wrong auction.
And so they might not have even bought a house because they went to the wrong place.
And you think it's on the catalogue, it's on the website, it's on all the marketing we've sent out to them, everything's there, and they've still got turned up at the wrong place. Or others have turned up on the wrong night. We've had them before. We've had an answer phone message at like 7 o'clock at night going, I'm at Bath Racecourse, there's no one here. And it's like, that's because it's tomorrow night.
Or at least they can come again.
So it's be prepared, know where the auction is.
Yep.
Make sure if you've got to travel, make sure you've got time to get there. And I'd recommend you're there at least half an hour before the auction is due to start.
Got you.
At least half an hour. Because then when you come in, most auctioneers now, and we certainly do, ask you to register.
Yeah, so that takes time.
Different in different places. Some will want to see your ID beforehand.
Okay.
We take ID if you're successful, but others will take everybody's ID.
Wow.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
So, be there prepared. Make sure you've brought your ID with you.
What is ID? I know this sounds silly, but just spell it out.
Just silly. So we need 2 forms of identification.
Which are?
One is photograph, so that can be a driver's license or a passport.
Yeah.
Another one is your address.
Okay.
And you can't use the same document for both.
Gotcha.
So utility bill, telephone bill for that.
Within the last 3 months?
Within the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Also, if you're buying in a company name, you need proof of one, that company exists.
Yeah.
Most auctioneers will do a check on the night anyway. You can do letterhead or some documentation, etc. But also, you've got the authority to bid on behalf of that company, because I don't know if you're a director of that company. I don't know if you just work for them. So it's so making sure you've got your ID and your documentation in place. It just makes everything a lot simpler.
So that's your ID. Yeah. You've turned up on time. You know where you're going. Yeah. What else do you need to do on auction night?
So when you get there, once you've registered, we'll give you a bidding number. Mm-hmm. Then we have another table that's got, if you want to have any last minute checks of legal packs, you can. Hopefully you've looked at them all already.
Go over there, but you check them.
You can have a read through.
Nervously.
Yeah, you can read.
So your bidding number, do you give them a paddle?
We don't go as far as a paddle. No, we actually give them just a sheet of paper with a number on it. What we found is, it sounds a bit of a cheapskate. What we found is some people like to take them home with them.
Yeah.
So with the numbers on there. So
of course you would, because it's your lucky
they're disappearing
number
all the time and getting them back. And and dare I say it, getting those pre-printed paddles, they're not cheap.
There's no need.
Actually, what we do is we put them on paper.
Naughty people don't nick.
But successful bidders quite often like to have them, and we've had some where they'll frame them and everything afterwards, and they'll have like the catalogue details and they'll have the things.
So that's really cool.
So they, especially if it's something that they're buying their dream home.
Yes.
They quite often will do something, so they take them away. But
so now you've registered, you've got your number.
Check any last minute notices. We have this legal pack table. It's also got a notice board.
Yeah.
So on there will be all the notices that might have been posted throughout the sale. That's whether there's been any mistakes in the catalogue, any last minute changes, lot order changes, or anything that we feel you need to know, which you may not have known at the start or during the viewing, etc. So check those, give a chance to look through those, and then find somewhere in the room. I always say, I say next thing is go and get yourself a drink. Settle yourself down.
Cup of tea or a pint of beer? I always had a cup of tea. I always had Earl Grey tea, but Ash used to have a pint of beer. Yeah, Can you tell the difference?
They don't do tea, I don't think.
It's beer.
It's beer. No, it's get a drink. It's relax the nerves, because generally majority of buyers at that point are a little bit nervous.
And so now we've got 200 to 300 people.
Yep.
They've got all sorts of interesting animal behaviour going on. There's a lot of space space claiming going on. So where do you sit?
I always say sit somewhere where one, you can see me as auctioneer, which you should be able to do in the room, but also make sure you're somewhere where it's very easy to see you. So you know, you've got all the seating. The seating's fine.
Yes.
Where it can be a struggle, especially in a packed room, is if you're looking at bidding, don't stand right in the back far corner.
And a lot of people do.
Because it might not mean I can see you.
Yes.
And suddenly you're putting your hand up above, you know, you've got 4 rows of people in front of you standing, and you're putting your hand up, and it's tricky. I'd always recommend that when, you know, even if you just come out for your lot, come out where you can be seen, where I can see you, because, you know, the best will in the world, hopefully I don't miss any bids, and we have other people in the room who keeping an eye out as well, because if you're looking this way, it's hard to see that way. But make yourself obvious. Don't hide behind curtains or in dark corners. And
people seem to like to be at the side of the room and at the back of the room. It's interesting behaviour. I see that quite a bit. Do you notice that? What's your view?
It's, well, when I go to someone else's auction, I always like to be at the side of the room so I can see what's happening. I like to see if people are bidding, what's going on. Because if you're sat in a chair just facing me, you can only see what's in front. Yes, this is true. But then what I find is some people actually, they'd rather that because they don't want to be distracted.
So how I did it, I used to wear a jacket this colour, bright red, because I'm only 5'2", so I need to be noticed in order to buy the house, not for personal ego pet. And I actually decided very early on, I didn't want to interact with that room full of testosterone and competitive hormonal vibes, because I didn't want to be emotionally engaged into that kind of competition. So me, and you choose, I used to wear a jacket this size. I used to sit there with my cup of tea. That's my son's mug, by the way. And I used to sit at the front. Now, I do appreciate it means I don't know what's going on behind me, but I decided I don't care what's going on in the room. It's between me and the auctioneer. I either buy it or I don't for my price. But that was just my emotional tunnel that I wanted to be in.
Well, you can't influence.
No.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day, you know, I'm as auctioneer, I'm controlling the situation. I'm influencing what's happening. And ultimately, if someone over there is bidding and you're bidding, there's not a lot you can do to put them off, or to, you know, you can stare them down. We see that sometimes. You know, they're staring. You can see them muttering. They're watching. They'll do their bid, and they turn around and look at the other person, and you just know what's going on. And then you see them muttering in maybe the rude words being said under their breath as they've gone and bid again. So,
and all they're doing is making the other person get more competitive, which is amazing for you.
And winding yourself up and making yourself more stressed. So my view is, you know, I think, as you said, Susanna, it sits somewhere where you can be seen, you can see me, there's a direct line, so I'm not missing you, I know you're bidding. Whatever else is happening with somebody else, that's not of your concern.
And the other thing, I don't know whether you think it's a good or bad idea. I used to always go in, I mean, I know all the auction houses anyway, because we do quite a lot of business with them, but I used to go in and say, just to let you know, I'm going to bid on this, and this lot. Now, why? Because I didn't want to be missed. No, I don't know if that's helpful or annoying. Tell me, and I won't take it personally.
From my point of view,
you don't care.
I don't care.
Okay.
If I'm going to be, you could come and tell me that, and then I won't see you in the room. So as you said, you've got sort of 250, 300 people in the room. So if I'm standing on that rostrum, do I see individual people? No. I'll be honest, no. I only see individual people once I see their hand goes up and there's movement, and then I see them. The rest of the time, it is like it's one big blur in front of me.
Yes.
And all I'm doing, I'm watching for movement. So I'm not seeing. So you could say that. Yeah. But if I don't. Unless I actually know where you're sitting, then I'm not really going to be too fussed. And also I know at the end of the day, if someone's bidding, you know, they're going to put their hand up and I'm going to see them. So from my point of view, no.
So again, the prep, what to do on the night. So what if you win it?
I always love that.
Now what you do?
I love that. What do you mean? What do you mean when you win it?
Yes.
It's not when you win it. When you buy it. It's not. We get, that's a common thing. We'll get that the day after. And he goes, I won this property last night. It's like, no, you didn't. You spent £250,000 buying it. People find you haven't won it. But that is the mentality, and that's a big thing. I would say that as a buyer, it's not about winning. Mm-hmm. You know, you're buying, whether it's your dream home, whether it's an investment, doer-upper. Go set figures in mind. Yeah. Know what your limits are. Yeah. And stop at those limits.
Which is about being prepared for the night.
Being prepared. I will do my best to push you further. If there's other bidders, they'll do their best to push you further because they'll bid again. But you just accept your limits and stick to them.
Yes.
It is not about winning, is the one thing I would say. However, that's what we encourage, that's what we want people to do. We want competitive in there, so we want people to be winning that lot.
Okay, so I'll rephrase. You've bought it. Now, I have actually never gone over my set price, ever, right? Because I'm a little bit...
Probably better than most then.
I'm measured. However, I'm going to tell you now, and I'm not encouraging you to go over your set price, there are 2 properties I can visualise now from 10 years ago that went for like a couple of grand more than my max price, that I, in my heart of hearts, really regret not going over. So I have never ever gone over my set price, which I write in the catalogue, and that's it. I always, if I want to buy one house, I'll minimum try and bid on 4, because I know statistically I'm buying 1 in 4. So ideally I'll try and bid on sort of 6 or 8, knowing that should statistically give me 1. Yeah, there are 2 properties I'm still crying for, just because they're so beautiful, and I just wish I'd blown my budget. But don't do that, okay? That's why I'm a successful property investor, but my heart is just left with those 2 properties. So now that you've bought the property, what happens next? What else do you need to have on you to buy this property?
So what will happen? So gavel falls down.
Yep.
Congratulations. You'll show your bidding number, so we know what number it is. We've got obviously corresponding paperwork.
Yep.
So a member of the team will come and grab you, take you out of the room.
What, straight away?
Straight away. If you're looking at bidding on something else, then obviously we'll keep you in there. We'll come back and grab you later. But if majority of cases, people are only coming for one lot, I think in most instances. So, and certainly if they've bought it, they're only coming for one lot.
Yes.
So we take you out. We have what we call sort of the contract signing room, where we'll give you a nice glass of bubbly just to say congratulations, and hopefully again ease those nerves. It's a very heightened, it's a very excited point at that point. I have to say it's one of the I very rarely get to be in it because I'm in the room, but they always say it's one of the nicest places to be because everybody's happy.
Yes.
Because they've just bought the property. If the seller's about, they've just sold the property.
Yes.
We're happy because we've just sold the property. So everybody's happy. So go in there. So you'll sign the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, fill out the rent of the contract, sign it there and then. The legal exchange happens on the fall of the gavel. So the signing of the contract is just the formality.
Right.
The exchange has already happened. If you suddenly go, I'm not signing that.
Tough luck.
Too bad, it's already exchanged. We had an issue on that not that long ago where they sat in the room and said, well, no, actually, I don't think I should have done that. And it was like, it's too bad.
Yeah.
And I, as auctioneer, actually have the authority to sign on the buyer's behalf if they don't sign the contract.
Got you.
Okay, they have legally signed. So you'll sign the contract, do that bit of paperwork. Again, more identification checks and going through all that.
Yeah.
And then pay some money.
How much?
So you will pay generally it'll be stipulating the special conditions how much, but generally it's 10%.
Okay, so you bought a 300 grand house, you're paying 30 grand then. Then
yes, and that can be taken
champagne.
I'd always make sure you find out beforehand what forms of payment the auctioneers can take.
Yes.
So whether that's cheque, majority will not take any cash, so don't bring cash. We still get examples, certainly on the cheaper lots, that people bring bags of cash. Please don't bring cash. But that's cheques. Less and less now, less people have cheques.
Yes.
But you can do bank transfers.
Yes. But hang on, your bank may only allow you to transfer either 10 grand or 25 grand. Yes. So you need to have gone to your bank at least a couple of days in advance. And I would advise going twice, not once, because I have had banks not always, I've had banks lose money on me before, to make sure that they understand you're going to transfer money and they can increase your level, or you know what your level is, so you've got 2 different bank accounts with the total amount in there. Yeah.
Some will take card payment. We don't take card payments, but some will take card payments. We're still a bit countrified. It will happen.
Friendly.
But it'll happen. Or actually, you can provide the money up front. Right. So some people actually will send the money over in the days preceding to the auction. They're very trusting of us, but they send them over.
Yes.
So it's there ready, and if they're successful,
great.
It's
then
done.
You just refund any balance.
Refund balance.
So you're paying 10%. What else are you paying?
So on the night we charge a buyer's fee.
Yep.
So for Strakers, for instance, at the moment, that is if the property is valued under 100,000, the buyer's fee is £600 including VAT.
Okay, lovely.
If it's over 100,000, it's £1,200 including VAT.
There we go.
That will vary from auctioneer to auctioneer. Pretty much all of them will charge some form of buyer's administrative fee.
Yes.
It can vary from £500 to it can vary to a percentage.
Yeah. So that's your cash, and that's how to pay it, and check with your bank in advance. And what else does a person need for getting ready on the night? to know where to celebrate?
Well, there's that if you want to go for a meal afterwards. You have a drink.
What have I done?
I say we always have the bar afterwards, so we'll look after you. So there's always room, and if you want to bring your family, we're quite happy at that point, a glass of wine.
Yes.
But we'll give you then on the night a copy of your contract.
Yeah.
A copy of the legal pack. At the moment, we give you a bottle of wine and a few other little bits and pieces.
Aww.
But take that contract and legal pack straight to your solicitor the next day.
And
Please do that. That's one of my biggest frustrations. I always say it at the start of the auction.
Yeah.
You've got 28 days to then finalise everything.
Yes.
If you hold on to that for the next week, you're putting a lot of pressure on your solicitor, and you run the risk then of not making it and not completing in time.
Got you. So your job the very next day, is to drink enough champagne to feel super excited you've just done an amazing thing, but not too much that you can't at 9 a.m. the next day get through to your solicitor and say, right, we got contracts, let's get going.
Yes.
Okay, grand. Thank you.